Let's work together. Hello, my name is Jeremiah Claramunt with Nebo Lending, and I want to help you close more opportunities. Why I invited you here today? Well, I want to help make this year our best in the business yet. And how am I going to achieve that? Well, I have tools that are going to help in overcoming common challenges in today's market, such as higher rates, buyer on the fence, buyer resistant to increasing offer. I also have tools that will help keep buyers engaged in the home buying process and also help nurture and prospect leads. Now, the first thing I want to cover is overcoming common challenges in today's market. And the first tool that I want to show you that I have access to, well, it's the seller concession tool. This is really going to help move that client forward by purchasing this home by comparing the difference in cost benefit between price reductions, temporary buy downs, permanent buy downs, and seller paid closing costs, and interactively show which option is best for both the buyer and the seller at any given time. I can also get in here and create these exclusive to that client scenario and answer what option would be best for them. I can also show them that total monthly cost snapshot or the principal and interest for any given point in time. Now, the next tool I want to show you that I have access to is really going to help addressing the move up buyer concerns. So let's play out a scenario here. Let's say the client owns a home with a current value of $560,982. Well, the current rate for 30-year mortgage they're at is 4.5%. Their taxes and insurance are coming in at around $787 a month. Now, this client wants to move forward for whatever reason. They're expecting their family, they're expanding it, or they're having another kid. Whatever their reason, say they want to move into a $600,000 home. The new rate will be around 7.5%. Taxes and insurance are coming in at around $832 a month. Now, the client is qualified to purchase this new home, but the client's reluctant because of payment shock due to a higher loan amount or higher rate, higher taxes and insurance in this instance are another $46 per month. So let's reiterate these numbers here. The current property they have, they're at a rate of 4.5%. The original purchase price in 2015 was $498,000. The original loan was $473,100. Estimated today's value is somewhere around $560,982. Their loan balance is around $449,136. Their potential equity is around $114,846. Now, the proposed rate would be somewhere around 7.5%. Purchase price $600,000, down payment around $120,000, and the mortgage amount $480,000. Well, here's the problem. The current monthly payment's $2,397. The proposed monthly payment would be around $3,356. So they're having payment shock. We can actually ultimately come in here and we can add all their debts that they have, right? And we can kind of show them, hey, look here, Mr. and Mrs. Client, we actually have some room in equity. What if we were to go in here and pay off that debt? Well, Mr. and Mrs. Client, if we were to do that, we would get to where now you're actually saving per month. Now, a lot of you might be asking yourselves, does it really make sense for my client to take that short-term debt and put it into a long-term vehicle like a mortgage? Well, it does make sense. And in this case, we can show them that if they take what we're saving them through debt consolidation and reinvest it back into their mortgage, they can actually reduce the number of payments to 169 and lower that loan term. Meanwhile, we're going to save them $124,818 in interest. And we're also going to increase their net worth by $349,637. This is such a powerful tool. And remember, this client already wanted to move into that higher priced home. Now, we're actually showing them a way that they can do this. Now, the next tool I want to show you, it's a real powerful tool in today's market. This piece shows that client, yeah, Mr. and Mrs. Client, you can afford a $450,000 house at 6%, but the MBA forecast rates are going to be at 6.5%. So if you wanted to keep that monthly payment, well, now instead of being able to purchase that $450,000 home, you're only going to be able to purchase a $427,000 home. This is such a great piece to motivate that client to purchase that home today. Now, this next tool I really want to show you is a really powerful piece for that client that's resistant to come in above asking price. It's called the cost of waiting. Look, Mr. and Mrs. Client, just because you're going to wait doesn't mean the market's going to wait with you. And in reality, we can get in here, we can create these in any county you guys want to look at. But in reality, that property, it's going to appreciate. And we can show that client what's going to happen through appreciation. And if they wanted to keep the same loan to value, well, their loan amount's going to increase, their down payment's going to increase. And as we very well know, the rate's not going to remain the same. So we can come in here and we can show that client, if you were to wait just 6 months to purchase that home, it's going to cost you an extra $69 a month just on a cash flow basis. But here's what they're not thinking about. By not purchasing that home today, they're missing out on property appreciation and amortization. Waiting that 6 months, well, it could have really helped them to start to figure out how they're going to start to save for their kids' college fund, how they're going to go on to the next family vacation, or how are they going to purchase that new car that they so desperately need. This is such a powerful piece for motivating that client to come in above asking price. And we can show this to them in graphical format as well. Now, the next tool I want to show you guys, it's a really powerful piece for that client that is, maybe they're a little bit on the fence with moving forward with purchasing. And if someone would come up to you and ask you, hey, should I buy or should I rent? Can you actually answer that question? Can you quantify which option is better? Using this buy versus rent tool, we can get in here and we can quantify this. So I'm going to ask you, if you can quantify this right now, let's say the client is looking to purchase a home for $400,000. Now, comparable monthly rent in this area that we're looking at is at $2,666. Now, we know that this county, the year-over-year rental increase is 3%. The national average is at 3.4%. Now, the taxes on this home would be $8,520. And the mortgage rate is around 4.5%. Down payment is at 10%. And they're expected to stay there at least 9 years. So I'm asking you guys, is it better to buy or is it better to rent? And how much better is it? Well, you guys know I'm baiting you. You know it's going to be better to buy. But let me show you what it looks like inside of this tool. We can go in here and we can put that comparable monthly rent. We can put the renter's insurance, the actual rental increase. We're going to put the purchase price, the mortgage amount. We can put the interest rate, the loan term, the closing costs. We can put all this information in here, the homeowner's insurance, and the repairs. We're going to put repairs in because we really want to build trust within that client relationship. And by putting in repair costs, it's kind of a major thing. Now, when it comes to purchasing a home, now in this equation, we're going to put in that full 6% in commission that they're going to have to give you to find people when they ultimately want to move out of this home. Now, not only that, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to put in here how long they're going to live there. And it will pull in that historical and forecasted appreciation rate. And we're going to put in where they land on the tax bracket. And that's important because I see a lot of loan officers, I see a lot of real estate agents showing this overinflated tax benefit when in reality, I don't think they're taking into consideration is whether you purchase this home or not, they're still going to get that standard deduction. So instead of showing them this overinflated tax benefit, let's show them over and above that standard deduction what is going to be the benefit tax wise of purchasing this home. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at this. So on a cash flow basis, we see it's going to be about $200 more a month to purchase that home rather than it would be to rent it. Now, although not for long, because we see that rental increases are going up 3% annually. And we see very visually by year 4 that it's actually going to cost them more on a cash flow basis to rent versus purchasing that home. And at the end of that 9 years that they're thinking about living there, they would be better off by almost $11,000 by purchasing that home than versus renting it. Now that's just the beginning. They could expect to gain $157,000 through appreciation alone. And here's the best kept secret: equity through amortization. Now, I know you guys know this, but let's make sure every single client knows that part of that monthly mortgage payment is principal and interest. Now, as you know, interest goes to the lender, but principal, it's basically a forced savings plan, $63,000 tax free. Now, the tax benefit, as you can see, it's not much, but that's okay. Let your competitor make a fool of themselves by showing an overinflated tax benefit. Showing them this is really going to help build trust with this client relationship. Now, then we're going to put in that full 6% in commission that they're going to have to give to you when they decide to move out of here. Now, when we take all that into consideration, they may be surprised to know that they would be almost $190,000 better off by purchasing this home versus renting it. In this case, if they're going to be living above that 2 years, it really does make sense for them to move forward with purchasing that home. And all of these pieces that I'm showing you guys today, they can be co-branded. So we can be marketing this individual together. Now, this one I'm going to show you is how to keep that home buyer engaged. And if we think about it, the home buying process, people start to shop with their eyes. They go to Zillow, they shop around, then they go look at the home. You all have seen this. They get emotionally attached with their hearts. But the way they end up purchasing that home, it's a financial decision that's done with their wallet or pocketbook. It's a logical decision. So why are we not marketing to them in a way that they're purchasing this home? Let's start. I have access to this email campaign and everything will be co-branded and we can send out in different intervals, and it's really going to help keeping that buyer engaged during the home buying process, which will help mitigate them from shopping with another loan officer or shopping with another real estate agent. Now, the first piece we're going to send them, it's the real estate report card. This is going to break down the health of that housing market within the county the client is looking to purchase. The next piece is going to show them a little bit about appreciation and what's going to happen to the value of that home over time and what does it mean to my client. The next piece we're going to send is the cost of waiting analysis that we showed earlier. Then we're going to show them that buy versus rent scenario. Then we're going to show them the community report. This is a fun piece that breaks down the demographics, the age group, the birth rates, the labor force, how many people enrolled in education, the student to teacher ratio, when homes were built in that county, and the crime rates. Now, the next piece we're going to send out is appropriate for today's market. It's going to help mitigate the fear, hey, if there's going to be a recession. Well, what you're looking at here is each of these gray bars represents the last 6 recessions. This blue line, it represents home prices according to Case-Shiller. And the red line is 50 years of 5% appreciation. And it's fascinating, you guys, because if we get in here and we can look at what home prices have actually done during the recession, they've actually done really well. Now, even during the last one, it was essentially stagnant. But if we dive in deeper, we see that home prices, well, they started to get out of hand. Then the housing bubble happened, which ultimately led us into a recession. Home prices came down, but now we're on we're on a right track with this trend line, and everything is co-branded and explained to them below. Now, this next piece we're going to send them is one of my favorite pieces, because what you're looking at here is that each of these bars represents the number of births per year dating all the way back to 1928. So we see the different generations via baby boomers, Generation X, millennials. And according to Zillow, the average age of the first time homebuyer is 33 years of age. So if we were to scoop up all the 33-year-olds today and we go back 33 years, we would see that the 33-year-olds today were born in 1985. They land right here on the chart. Now, after 1985, the number of births keep increasing and increasing, meaning there's going to be a greater demand coming into the market year after year that they neither need to purchase or they need to rent a home. Even then, it doesn't drop off. It stays at these high levels of 4 million births per year. And as a point of reference, if we went back in time to the housing bubble, 2006, 2007, 2008, we took the average age of the first time home buyer in 2006, right? 33 years of age. And we went back 33 years. Those 33-year-olds in 2006 were born in 1973. Does anyone know what major law was passed in 1973? Roe versus Wade. Abortion became legalized. So if you see, we had a lull in birth rates. Now, if only builders back in 2006 went back and looked at demographics, they would have seen no one new was going to come into that market to be able to purchase all the homes that they were going to put up. Now, this next piece we're going to send them, it's going to break down supply and demand. And there are two bars for each year dating back to 2002. This blue bar, it represents household formation. Now, what's household formation? Well, that's a kid that decides to move out of a house or a couple that gets divorced. Well, now they need two roofs over their heads instead of one. Now, whereas this orange bar represents household completions. That's builders putting homes on the market. And we see for the past 3 years that demand has far outweighed supply. And people often ask, why don't builders start putting more homes on the market? And although we have started to see a shift nationally in inventory levels, a lot of people ask, why don't builders just start putting more homes on the market? Well, there's a few reasons, but there's one really big one, that banks aren't lending on specs like they used to. If we go back and we look at when banks were lending on specs, it was kind of like that movie Field of Dreams, right? You build it and they will come, until they stopped coming. You know why they stopped coming? It literally fits like a hand in glove with the birth rates. We missed that lesson and the banks got burned. But that lesson that we can walk away with is that we know demand is going to continue to be strong because we just got done looking at the birth rates. Now, the last piece that we're going to send them, this is where we're going to show that client how amortization works. And if they put extra money into their mortgage each month, they can generate extra savings. Now, the next tool I want to show you is really going to help nurture leads. And a lot of you are working in different counties. This piece is really going to allow you to become an expert in a matter of a few minutes. It's the real estate report card. Now, in this case, we're looking at Cook County. And I do have the ability to pull this up for any county in the country. The first thing you're going to see are these badges. And these badges are really great talking points. Now, in Cook County, it's the top 20% in the US for median income and top 30% in the United States for historical appreciation. Now, it will automatically pull the median home price, and the median home price is $259,000. But I can actually go in, I can edit this for you guys depending on what that client is looking at. So you'll see the custom home price here is $400,000. Now, it's going to edit that, and it's also going to edit that 5-year appreciation gain. Now, another thing I have ability to do is If you have a specific home in mind, if you want to just send me that MLS number, I can put that MLS number in here and it will automatically pull the image of that home. And again, it will adjust that 5-year appreciation gain. But you see here, we're going to show this client the historical and forecasted rates of appreciation. And then we're going to show them very visually, for possibly the first time ever, the opportunity that exists in that home. We're going to show them that 5-year appreciation gain. Now, we're going to show them inventory. Inventory here, it's a little tight. There are currently 4 homes for sale for every 1,000 people. We've gone up 2% in inventory in the last year, but we've gone down 2% in the last month. Then we're going to show them the total population. Of the total population, there's about 2 million renters. Now, out of those renters, out of those renting, there are actually about 544,000 currently renting that can actually afford to purchase. Now, these are the people that we want to be targeting. Well, then we're going to show them a little bit about supply and demand. So this is around 161,000. That's annual potential first-time home buyers in Cook County. Those are buyers within that range between 27 and 35. And we know that there is a 59% home ownership rate. So in order to meet this type of demand on an annual basis, there needs to be about 59,000 homes built annually. Well, currently, there are only about 9,355 homes being built annually. This is a great piece because to be able to have that conversation with your clients right away when they start looking for a home, and we can tell them, look, it's basic law and demand. There's a lot of demand and there isn't a lot of supply. And in today's market, you can kind of expect to come in at asking price or even above asking price. Maybe you have a client that has gone house hunting the past couple of weekends and they're getting a little bit discouraged. Well, look, Mr. and Mrs. Client, this is why there isn't a lot of inventory. But that's not to say that there's not a financial opportunity that exists here. It's great to be able to have that conversation with them. We're also going to show them what employment looks like. And that's really important because if they lose that job, well, that home becomes a lot less affordable. But this is great. Exactly what you want to see. That employment rate has been steadily decreasing. The median income is actually higher than the national average. And then we're going to show them a little bit about affordability. And this is a great way to kind of counteract that negative message in the media. Because let's face it, the media often says that as home prices go up, that homes actually become less affordable. But the media is there to get eyeballs and attention. You know that they're not going to tell you that affordability isn't just made up of home prices, but it's also made up of interest rates, it's made up of wage growth and jobs. And at a level at 100, that would mean that the household earning that median income could afford the median home price with 20% down. Now, Cook County is actually at 150. That means that client earning the median income could afford 1.5 times the median home price with 20% down. It's affordable and it's a great piece. Again, I can go ahead and I can co-brand this piece with you guys. And another thing, all these pieces I've been showing you, we can also make them available in Spanish as well. Now, this next tool I want to show you guys, I have the ability to come in and create an open house flyer. I have multiple different templates in here we can choose from. And also the last page shows a little bit about interesting points. Here's the school systems, school to teacher ratio. I can actually point out the different coffee shops, nearby areas, and all of these are editable depending upon that client. So maybe that client only has kids in high school. Well, I can actually go in here and I can edit that. So this is, again, completely customizable for that client. So thank you guys. Let's go ahead and let's work together. Before you go, I do have some PDF handouts for you, which will quickly show you some of these pieces we went over. So if you want a copy, send me a thumbs up and I'll go ahead and get that to you. Thanks again.